everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. How you doing this morning, guys?
Wonderful. Outstanding. Marvelous.
Friday.
If you don't mind, Bo, I do have a public service announcement from a Cowboys fan. I know we talked about this. Listen, guys.
We're just muting that. No.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, because you know what? This might be one of the days you probably might have to mute me. It's okay. Listen, I'm calling on all Cowboys fans. It is our duty. It is our sworn duty after 30 years to call the health department, file a complaint that Jerry Jones should, in fact, be reevaluated, see if he has all of his faculties to actually control our team. I think it's our duty to America's team. I think it's our duty to Roger Staubach and all the greats that have come through them doors to do it. So call the health office and let's file this commotion and let's get the ball rolling. I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
It's time, Bo. It's time. 30 years, it's time, Bo.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. Basically, if they could just get him to stop doing stupid stuff during the season, he'd be fine. Because again, he brings in talent. Talent's on that roster. Yeah. He does good in the draft. Like you watch the guys he selects, you're not mad at it. But then during the season, he's just like, I need these cameras over here.
So as someone who loves the drama of it, I don't think we need to call the health department. I think we got to get that man into politics. Jerry's the type of guy that I think he would actually run for governor. You know what I mean?
Politics and Jerry Jones. Can we mute that?
I think Jerry would be someone who would leave willingly if he would become mayor or governor or something. I don't know, some alderman, some kind of role that gives him some real power.
You think he would? I think he would relish in that.
Yeah.
Oh, he would love that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good pivot for him at that ripe young age of 81.
I mean, it hits the right age group. So that seems to be what we're doing these days.
Yeah.
Bo, for me, it's not about Jerry truly anymore because he is, like I said, he's older in the tooth. We all know that. It's really now about Stephen Jones. And what is he going to do when Dad finally does let go of the team and then it becomes his team? Is he going to continue to follow in his dad's footsteps, or is he going to actually do it his own way? And I hope he'll do it his own way and actually get a general manager and actually go out and get it right. Because the problem is we got all the body parts. We just don't have the head, and the head is what we need. And I thought Brian Flores would have been a great head coach, but instead we got old-ass geriatric Mike McCarthy. Come on. What are we doing?
Hey, man, you never know. Hey, fingers crossed that you hold out hope for it, that sometimes the sons are always like significantly different than the pops. So maybe he'll turn, maybe he'll turn heel and be all new age and analytics and everything else and quiet and not in the media. Stand behind the scenes. Just let
either that or he has 40 years of training and he's going to be exactly.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's what I fear is that he's had 40 years of training. Honestly.
Dang. I try to be positive for you. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, that's why I'm not even saying a word. It's just I'm watching this all. This is like a train wreck that I get to just watch and smile.
Absolutely.
It is. It's very disheartening. Honestly, as a Cowboys fan, it's disheartening because the writing's on the wall. You can't. It's not like you can just come out here and say and hype up the Cowboys, but we all know it's horse shit. I mean, seriously, I can't even lie to myself. That's the thing. You can't lie to yourself. You know that this team is not going down the right direction because of the head of the organization doesn't have a clear path to victory. He's got his own delusional path. Well, and there's only so much you can take. There's only so much humble pie a Cowboy fan can eat before you just say, you know what, I've had enough.
Is it too wild to say that you guys are actually like legitimately a good or a solid above average team while also knowing that you're probably never going to win a championship in your lifetime? Like,
you hit it right on the head. No, you hit it right on the head. We are good enough to keep jersey sales and keep the fans interested. We're not bad enough to lose them, but we're good enough to keep them. That's the problem. I'm tired of that. I want to get to a damn Super Bowl. I want Cowboy glory again, You're
where the Phillies were with Andy Reid. I got you. Oh, sorry, where the Philadelphia Eagles were with Andy Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid was the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, but we made it there.
I was going to say, they made
championship games. And we did go to one Super Bowl, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And eventually they let him go to the Chiefs and then he just becomes incredible with, happens to get Pat Mahomes. That kind of helps a little bit.
Well, that's really what the difference was. Think about that. Pat Mahomes solved his time management problem.
Yeah.
He decided to not wait for the calls. He started making the calls himself because Andy Reid was not very good at time management. So that one Super Bowl when Pat Mahomes is going, what's going on? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Fuck it, I'm just going to say it myself.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to do that. That's a good quarterback. And sometimes you got to make that call and make that decision.
Nah, man. So yeah, he found a guy who just happened to be a magician at quarterback who just took it on his own shoulders. That kind of helps with pretty much any coach.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Damn. I mean, a few of those years with the Eagles were solid, though.
Yeah, of course they were. I mean, we were always in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know, it's just ultimately it didn't pan out any of them.
That's why I view them just like the Cowboys in that same way. The Cowboys are a little bit, maybe not to that same level, but they're very close as far as always being in the mix. You're always going to be in the playoffs, and you're always going to be good enough for the fans not to riot outright. But they're all thinking about the same thing. But they know it's just because there's so many worse teams out there that you kind of just can't go crazy. But
yeah,
30-year time frame is kind of, you're getting to that point where like, dude, what's going on?
Well, I was really fed up with the fact that, like the last playoff game the Cowboys had last year, it just the play calling was horrible on defense. I mean, as you saw, where were the cornerbacks? I mean, they were nowhere to be found. I mean, what kind of coverage were they running?
Well, you could find them. You just had to scroll around the screen a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Because they were nowhere near the play.
Right. And so you can't even blame that on the players for losing that game. I blame that on the play calling from the defensive coordinators and such. I mean, what were they doing?
Yeah, it's like soft coverage, but stay in a zone. You're like, okay, so you're just in an obscure spot where no one's going to be. That's cool.
No, soft coverage would be one thing. These quarterbacks were at the damn hot dog line getting hot dogs and beer, okay? They weren't even on the damn. I'm convinced they weren't even on the
would have been better, really.
No, but I kept telling my wife, I'm like, where are they? Where are they at? It is what it is. I mean,
it's fine. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining to watch. It was a clinic of how to not play defense.
Oh yeah,
like
which is crazy because
you're just like, what are they doing?
Yeah. But it's crazy because Dan Quinn is a good coordinator. He was good all season. It's just that one specific game. Maybe he went to the restroom and for a long period of time. I don't know.
I mean, he has a history of not being the best in the playoffs, though.
Well, yeah, I think when they played against Tom Brady when he was with the Falcons, I think that kind of explained a lot for sure.
Well, and even in Seattle, I mean, there's a reason they moved on from him.
Yeah, no, I get that. I do. I get that. I mean, I just don't understand how you go 28-3 at half, and then you come back and you just say, you know what? Let's not keep pressure on Tom Brady anymore. Let's just let him have carte blanche and do what he wants to do.
Well, that's the old school. That's the old school philosophy. You try to sit on the ball and just play defense and hope that you can win. I mean, hope never wins games, man. Let's just call it. That's what it is. Scared money don't make money. Hope don't win games, and that's all.
Well, that's true.
Exactly correct.
All hoping that the clock will run out and I'll just be able to salvage this win that I probably didn't believe I should have had.
Yeah, well, and prevent defense really only prevents the team playing it from winning. Like, that's really all it is. Because you're giving up tons of yardage, you're giving up easy plays, and you're allowing the other team to climb back into it and get in a rhythm. And it's not like you can just dial that back up, right? As soon as you're off your game, it's not, it's like you're busy in the morning and then you have the afternoon off, and then all of a sudden you got to try and be busy for the last hour and a half of work. Yeah, that's not a real thing. Your brain has long since gone home. And, if you're busy the whole time, it's cool. And, as a defensive player, I always hated it when they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to dial this back. It's like, no, let's use the defense we've been winning with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's working for you, why would you go away from it?
Exactly. Like, if you burn us, awesome. But we don't want to give you all this easy stuff, because I can tell you it's easy to punch it in from the 15 as opposed to getting that one home run ball on you, especially on a defense that's been working.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah.
So speaking of dumb stuff, the Cowboys could potentially do.
Oh, gosh.
Shedeur Sanders comes out and releases a list of the teams he'd like to play for. And for the most part, none of these guys really need a quarterback. The Cowboys are the only ones that really have a question mark there, only because they, who knows what they're going to do with Dak. But for a franchise that does a lot of just crazy stuff for no reason, this could be a good fit. It won't create wins, but it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not going to say that I believe that the Cowboys should do something like this because, to your point, I think it actually is stupid. But I could see it. I'm not going to say like that's the piece that I'm like, I could see it. Jerry loves the media, and you have Dion and Dion's son, basically, because that's going to be a package deal. Even if Dion's coaching elsewhere, he's going to be around, and he's going to be in the media talking about the team and everything else, good or bad, depending on how that's going. But he will be involved, and that would get all eyes on Dallas. And if there's one thing that Jerry Jones loves, it's all eyes on Dallas. Like, that might be it, though.
I mean, they will get plenty of coverage, whether they're good or bad. Right? Like, he can come out and ball out, or he can be just god awful, and the cameras will be on it the whole time because it's Deion Sanders' kid and it's Jerry Jones circus parade. So, I mean, it's it'll do exactly what he wants it to do. I just don't know for the fan base that it equals championship possibilities.
But let me ask you,
but play that out even further, though. Play that out even further. This is what I see happening. I see Mike McCarthy crashing and burning this season because he ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
And then that's a perfect segue for Jerry Jones to move on from him. Oh, here comes Shedeur. Oh, here comes Dion. And then Dion's going to be the next coach. I can definitely see that.
Dion's the next coach.
I see that panning out.
So if
I
that's
see a scenario where that comes to fruition, because like you said, all eyes on Dallas. And what better than to have Dion as a coach and his son as the quarterback? I mean, think about it. I mean, that sounds Jerry-like.
It does.
It does sound Jerry-like, actually.
And I would be here for that too, because that still doesn't make me think winning is going to happen.
Exactly. Well, and that's the problem, right?
But let me ask you guys. I mean, and I know especially Philly sports guys probably going to have a say in this one, but why wouldn't he be a good fit as at least for a backup quarterback for either the Ravens or the Eagles?
Oh, as a backup, sure.
I feel like that's a solid spot for development and behind two quarterbacks who run the ball a solid amount and kind of have I won't say a same game, but at least in the realm of being a similar kind of type of game. I feel like that might be an option.
Yes. So from a player development standpoint, totally makes sense. From a ego standpoint, I don't know that he's trying to come in and be a backup.
Yeah. I mean, but you got the Hurts. Actually, I don't even know what his contract looks like, honestly.
He just signed one. He just signed one last year. So last year was, I think this year is actually the first year of that contract because it was an extension, obviously. So it's, I think that it's, he's what, 35 million this year as a cap hit, but it's, it's a nice size contract, and I think it's for 5 years.
So at that point, he'd just be someone that's an injury guaranteed kind of type person. So he might want to be in these cities, but he would not want to be playing on these teams as a backup.
Yeah, and I think I know he's a quarterback, but I think that he winds up like if he's going to be playing in these cities, obviously he wants to play for Atlanta, and Atlanta doesn't need any of these. So what is he going to play? Is he going to start to play defensive back? Is he going to start to play tight end? Is he going to try to go to running back receivers type thing? Like there's lots of different ways that he would go because he's not going to be a quarterback unless he starts to flash like Mike Vick.
Yeah.
And that's not, there's a reason why there's only been one Mike Vick.
We haven't seen that from him just yet. I feel you on that.
So I feel like that anything right now. Hey, listen. Hey, you know what? You want to know my favorite teams? My teams that I want to play for. I want to play for the Eagles. I wouldn't mind playing for Miami Dolphins or Arizona Cardinals. I wouldn't mind playing for the Chargers or the Rams. And there's my 5 teams.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder if anybody will pick me up.
Well, and it's funny because had he put Miami on there, you at least have a question mark, right? Because they've shown that they don't necessarily love Tua.
I mean, this obviously doesn't feel like this was something that he sat down and thought about opportunities and openings. I mean, he put the Atlanta Falcons as the first team.
Well,
Come on, man.
the Atlanta Falcons. He put the Atlanta Falcons first, and he put the Dallas Cowboys second, and then the 49ers on number 4 because his father played for all those
Exactly.
teams.
Mm-hmm.
That
He
makes
put the Commanders there because I think he finished his career with the Commanders, right? Dion?
I don't ever remember him going to
with the Redskins. He wasn't.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
They probably are.
I think he had 1 year with them, and that's how he finished.
Yeah,
up.
he did.
So Baltimore. Yeah, so Baltimore and Philadelphia are the 2 teams that, hey, I think that they're good teams. So yes, I'd love to be on there so that I can get my ring.
Well, and that's why I was thinking Miami is because he doesn't have to be amazing because anybody can throw to 3 race cars, right? Because you got Waddle, you got Hill, and now you have Odell. I mean, you don't have to be great to be able to complete passes to those guys.
I mean,
like they're going to be open.
Tua knows that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And since they don't seem like they want to pay Tua, all of a sudden,
that's part of what we're talking about, Joe. That obviously this is ridiculous. That he says that these are the 6 teams that he wants to play for. You know, it's just he's not done anything. He's not even a great college quarterback yet. You know what I mean? So it's this is like I said, I gave you my 5 teams. I'm hoping somebody drafts me.
Hey man, Johnny Manziel told y'all boys, and he showed y'all boys, if I can make an entertaining enough product, especially in the draft and that off-season kind of scenario, then someone crazy out there. All it takes is one bad GM to listen to a homeless person to tell him to draft him, and that'll get you in the first round. Shadir knows he knows it. There's a lot of dumb NFL owners who just happen to be billionaires. Come on.
And he does have, he does have his dad in people's ears. So, I mean, he'll ultimately, I mean, unless he just falls off a cliff, he'll probably get selected in the first round.
His quarterback.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I could see his dad having enough sway to make something like that happen.
Maybe, but is his father really going to play that card? His father has got more to worry about now rather than just one son. He's got a college football team that he's got to run. So I don't know that he does that. I think that, plus, when you listen to Deion Sanders talk about his kids, he talks about how he wants them to make it on their own.
Yeah, to earn
it. They have to earn what they're doing. So he gave them the platform to try to succeed so far in Colorado. And unless they go 9-2 this year, which I think is a very far stretch.
Yeah.
Then he's not going to be that guy. He's just not going to be a first round pick. And I think
that's crazy though that he says he wants him to make it on his own. Because if you really want your kid to make it on your own, you're not bringing him to Colorado. You're going to let him go up to the junior ranks, D2, D3, whatever it is he gets, and go that direct. If you really want them to make it on their own,
I was going to say the same thing. He can say, "I want to make it on. I want them to make it on their own," because I'm supposed to say that. If I can't say I can't say the opposite.
But he's got to earn it though too. Like
Bingo.
So, listen, you got it. All right. So I gave you.
Opportunity.
I have put you into an opportunity for you to be able to succeed here. If you are not going to succeed, that is more on you, not me.
I just think the reason Deion does all this, or a lot of this, is simply because of his children. And if that is the motivation, if that's his motivation for doing this for these children, I don't see how he does not make him a first round draft pick, pulling all the connections, pulling all the stops, putting all this social media and everything else, campaigns, whatever you want to call it, the attention to make him look the best he can and shape it. Because that's the reason he's doing it.
He's not going to be a first round pick. I'm telling you that my expectation is that the GMs in the NFL are smarter than that.
They'll see through it.
They're smarter than that.
This
isn't the NBA. This isn't the NBA where they're going to have a second round next day. So that they can, for LeBron, LeBronny James. I mean, come on now. This is the NFL, which, would mean not for long if you make a bad pick in the first round, like Shakur Sanders.
Except the Cowboys exist.
And there's somebody, I just think there's just somebody who's going to trade, whether it doesn't have to be early, like it doesn't have to be top 12 like Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy this year. But because again, when a lot of people didn't say early that we are going to have this many quarterbacks in the first round. I said it might have been on a podcast with Bo. Last offseason, I'm like, early this offseason, I'm like, no. There's going to be 6 quarterbacks taken. I don't know why. Just that someone's going to trade. I thought
there is another dumb team.
Somebody's going to trade up late in the first round and get that 5th year option. And I'm just like, somebody's going to take him.
Nope. I've changed my mind. There is another team that would possibly take him. The Giants.
Oh,
the Giants could do it. The Giants could do it.
They give Daniel Jones $40 million. They'll damn sure take Shador.
So that's absolutely a possibility there. So I mean, you want to talk about?
I would go as far as saying I'd go as far as saying both New York teams.
Yeah, well,
that's true. They got an.
I think so. I actually give more respect to Joe Douglas. I know that he has not done the greatest of things there in New York. But he has put together an amazing friggin' defense. And the offense is, like I said, he would have been a little bit better had Aaron Rodgers played, but that offensive line is still beaten up. So, but he did solve some of those problems this year. He did go out and he got some offensive linemen. And I don't know if it was enough, but it's definitely better. The Raiders are not going to take him.
You know what I think to prove Bo, what Bo just said about Shador kind of being somewhat plausible is McCarthy gets let go because he gets Cowboys do crap. They bring in Dion. Dion goes to Jared and says, Jared, I want to bring my boy here. All right, Dion, bring the boy here. Let's throw some more Jared. I'm telling you, I can see something like that happening. I can just see that. Unfortunately,
and that would be amazing because I would love that.
I know you would, and I would hate that because I'd be like, "Damn, now Philly's
that would be
tomorrow."
That little dog game.
Listen to this.
The house is on fire. This is fine. Everything's
fine. Hey, that'd be a great way to rebuild, but not a way to rebuild and still try to be exciting. Because that's the goal at that point. You know what their money situation already looks like, so it's kind of
right. Because I think Shador should be a 4th round pick. I mean, I think he's a guy you take a flyer on in the 4th round, see if you can develop him, see if he can do whatever. I think 3rd or 4th round, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think that's probably where he should go. But
someone like a Jordan Travis.
Yeah, I mean, if you took him late 3rd, because then you still have that 4th year option, I could see that, right? Because he's going to need time to develop. And then you're hoping he turns into something, right? So I could see him as a late 3rd. You take him in the 4th, that's a 3-year at best, right?
Yeah. And that gives you the opportunity, not having to obligate too much money to him, and then seeing if you can actually develop. Because that's really what you get in the 4th round anyway, some developmental possibilities.
Typically,
yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know of any. Well, hold on. Wasn't your quarterback taken in the 4th round there, Jay? Wasn't Dak Prescott a 4th round pick?
Yeah.
That they
and also that's where Dak should have been about the 4th round. I mean,
but listen, but the Cowboys are never really big on picking quarterbacks in the 1st round. At least not for a long, long time. I mean, unless
that quarterback is a big name person, then possibly.
But there hasn't been any abilities, even when you had a 1-15 team. Obviously, you had Troy Aikman already, so that wasn't the big deal. But after the Troy Aikman, after you did all that, and the Super Bowl started to go down, and you had that little short, chubby, fat guy with white curly hair, who was a coach.
You talking about Wade Phillips?
Yeah,
not Wade Phillips. No, I'm talking about the guy after him, maybe.
It was the Wade Phillips. It was Jason Garrett.
Then before him, he was like short and he with glasses and
the Dave Campo.
I mean, you got Bill Parcells. You got Chan Gailey.
Gailey.
That's the one.
Okay.
So even during those times, you didn't take quarterbacks. So I mean, that's why I'm saying taking a quarterback in the 1st round. I mean, Romo wasn't even drafted.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's true.
those are
So they're
those
looking
are
for the
the
lightning
things.
in the
They are
bottle.
not. They're not going to invest that type of money. Now, maybe they change their philosophy some, but
Mhm.
that's not really their MO a lot of the time.
I mean, they
You-
did
Okay.
start paying people because Jerry wants a ring, right? Like he wants one more before he kicks off. So I mean, he has started to do some things in that GM role that you didn't
Well,
see all the time.
he was always willing to pay people. No, I
Some of
mean,
them,
as far as bringing in
yeah,
free
some of
agents and,
like
and making big trades,
receivers
yeah,
for
he was
sure.
always open to
Like he
that.
liked paying receivers, but
and
it,
they would never. That's another thing. They're never really big in the free agent market.
yeah,
Right.
He's
No, I
not.
agree.
He doesn't buy into that concept, which is fine. I mean,
More
because
trades,
same
less
thing with
free agents.
Pittsburgh. Same thing with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they model. I mean, he tries to model a lot after Pittsburgh. He really does, because Pittsburgh's not big in the free agent market either. They're very big in drafting and home growing. That's
yeah,
what they want. They want homegrown guys.
yeah,
So Jerry Jones tries to mimic that to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Now it works for Pittsburgh. However, Pittsburgh suffers because they have no. They fail at free agency.
Yeah.
yes,
They fail majorly at free agency.
yeah.
The Cowboys just haven't participated in free agency.
I
So I
mean,
think the
well,
last big free
and Paul's
agent they
right.
may have taken was Deion Sanders.
Well, do you remember way back when they took Demetrius Underwood? He came out of Minnesota. He was after he was played for Minnesota. Then he got released because he's having all those mental problems. And then Jerry goes and picks him up, thinking that we can recondition him or rehabilitate him. They put him on all this mental health counseling and all this, and then he just goes off the rails and goes down some highway and does something crazy. And then that's the last you ever heard of him. But I remember because Demetrius actually was supposed to be a top round guy.
Oh, you know what? I love. I
Yeah.
love that right after they get out of jail, Jerry Jones is like, "Hey, come over here,
I
please."
mean, I don't understand the problem there. Like, you need some guy that's gonna knock some heads, and you can't have all Saints. The Florida Gators taught us that.
But yeah, I mean,
I get.
so Paul is right here, though. Jerry does seem to sign guys that he likes, right? Like it isn't always necessarily guys that should be getting signed. It's he makes some emotional decisions when it comes to contract time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a true statement.
And this here,
So-
I mean, the rebuild is coming. Like there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
their cap situation is ridiculous, and I mean it's going to get worse from here. So because they
Yeah.
got big guys that they got to try and sign, and they have no money to make that happen.
I mean, and that's going to be the big deal. That, like, all right. So say you franchise for 1 year, Micah Parsons.
Sure.
Because that's what you're going to have to do. You're not going to be able to give him a long-term deal, or you maybe give him a long-term deal and you back-end load it, and then you wind up doing the same thing that you got
Exactly.
stuck with this one. So it's
Mhm.
like literally, if you didn't have Zeke on this team, he still would be the highest paid player or second highest paid player on the team behind Dak Prescott, who is going to get paid for 2 more years after this as the highest paid player on the team, and he may not even be on the team.
Exactly. Yeah. What? He's got a $60 million cap hit next year, and there's no guarantee he'll be on the roster.
Right.
Well, that's true.
That is
That's true.
brutal.
That's true. And I don't want to go through a rebuild. I hate rebuilds, but that may
Their whole
be the
Trey
best.
Lance turns into something.
But you know what? Hey, that may be the best option for them. Gather up draft picks, and then hopefully you get a better head coach that can do something.
I
with the
mean, I'd
development
be
of-
honest. I'd be honest. If you guys go 4 weeks and you have a bad first 4 weeks,
Yeah.
I would try to trade Dak Prescott for a number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I would be.
Like that would be the way to do that. Why
Yeah,
not blow
absolutely.
it up right there and start
Right.
it? Like, listen, hey, you're going to get somebody. Maybe a quarterback got hurt. You
Yeah.
send him to a team that has potential to make a playoff run.
Yeah.
And you send him there, you get a first round pick, which is going to be later in the round anyways.
Yep.
So it's going to be a later first round pick. But at least there you've now made you've taken a position
Right.
Of okay, now we're going to go try to do something. Now we are going to we're stuck in hell, so that means we need to go get a rookie quarterback because that rookie quarterback is not going to make a tremendous amount of money, which means
Yeah.
that we may have to do whatever we can, maybe package both our first pick, or because you've already just traded your quarterback, you may wind up with the first pick in the draft or
Well, and
somewhere close to that.
you may be punting on CD also because I mean he's already come out talking about places he'd like to go play.
Yeah.
So I mean,
absolutely.
clearly all of these contract issues are coming to a head, which is why the other day I was like, oh, do they take a bigger step back than we were originally thinking? Just because morale on this team is going to fall off the map.
Oh yeah. And nobody wants to go through a rebuild, but that just may be the quickest way possible to reset this mess that they're in and get back to the right track. But they're going to have to really make better decision makings when they come out of the rebuild, if they want to continue. And that could, with Jerry, that's always an issue.
This will be the smart time to do it, to the Philly sports guys' point. If you start off rough, or if you have the rough first half of the season before the trade deadline, to start that now versus having to bring a new coach in and have to burden them with whatever that's going to look like as far as your dead cap and all of that. You can start just clearing the space now and giving yourself all the opportunities to maybe get a few draft picks next year.
And then at that point, you already know you're getting a new you already know you're getting a new coach. Yep. You know what I mean? You let him finish this season out with hey, listen, work it out as best as you possibly can. We are getting capital now. That's what we are trying to do. And we're getting capital for somebody who's not you.
Do you think that they do that? Or do you think they just fire McCarthy and let Zimmer finish the season? Because if you're already taking all his toys away and he knows he's getting fired, he's already come out basically saying he's fed up with Jerry Jones. Do you just say, you know what, enough's enough? Because I mean, we've watched plenty of it around the league. I mean, we watch the Panthers do it every 6 games. So I mean, they could blow this thing up and remove McCarthy because he's done after this year regardless. So, and unless they go win a ring, there's no chance they bring him back. So,
no, I think that if they by chance made it to the NFC Championship game, he would come back.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that hope from a Philly, like from a Philly fan, or is that like you legit?
No, there's no chance. There's no chance he's going to get there. But I'm telling you, that's what I think. I think that if he made it to an NFC Championship game, that they would bring him back. Like, I don't think he needs to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think he needs to win the ring. I think that they don't want to change coaches again. Like, I feel like that's a thing for them. They don't want to do that, but they would if it's a blow up season, which I thought was going to happen last season, but now looks more primed to actually happen now rather than last year, then it's not going to matter. But if he was to actually, with as much of a mess this is, if he was able to put it together well enough and get them to make a little bit of a playoff run, not even they don't even have to go to the Super Bowl, but if he made a little bit of a playoff run, that would show enough of his worth. How do you fire him? Like, that's what I think. How do you fire him? You don't. Yeah. Not if he just went to the NFC Championship game.
You're
we're
Jerry
talking
Jones.
Jerry Jones.
That's not the goal. NFC champ, like in my head, it's like no. The fact that you were here. So let's no matter how this season goes, the fact that he's here on the last year of his contract with his quarterback on the last year of his contract with basically a zero cap savings as far as cutting him next year. He's out of there for the most part. You got a receiver who wants a new contract, who you may or may not pay. And I don't even know how that's going to go. Your main, like, across the board, all of it, everything shapes up to say this is it. Like, and
going back to what Joe said, they got 32 guys on 1-year deals, so they are primed for a rebuild.
Right. So even if he wins, so if it goes well, I'm sitting there like, you really gonna think they're gonna re-sign all those guys? And most like that project already is just primed for a rebuild. It feels like Super Bowl or bust, and that's why
that boy's got like $5 in the bank. How can't afford nobody?
Yeah, and it was Super Bowl or bust last year. Like, they already shedded pieces that they needed. Like
in preparation for this.
Yeah, I mean, because of the cap hit that they had to let go of guys because they couldn't keep them. So, I mean, unlike every other sport, the cap here is not a fungible number, right? Like you can manipulate it to like spread it over years and whatever, but the cap is the cap. It's not like basketball where you're like, oh, this is the cap, but here's some money under the table so we can do some other stuff. Like the NFL cap is a hard cap. And, if you backload things, sure, you can be the Rams. You might go get a ring, but then you're going to lose that whole team,
everybody,
right? Because you can't keep anybody. And, that's why I always say it's dumb if it doesn't work, right? Like if it works, great. You can't take the ring away. But if it doesn't work, all of a sudden you're the Saints where you became in cap trouble and you didn't get anything done. So the Cowboys could very well be in exactly that position now because they tried to pay people. They had a lot of overpaid guys. They didn't get it done. Well, now they're going to have to tear this thing apart. Yeah. And usually it stunts your growth. Now the Rams have been amazing at spinning that thing around really quick. I don't know that the Cowboys can accomplish that because of how long some of these cap hit numbers are going to hit.
Yeah, but that was also, I mean, the Rams got lucky because they had him retire. They had what's his face retire, which cleared a tremendous amount of cap space.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he retired. That was the big difference. So it's like, okay, you don't have, that money all comes off the cap. So it's like that was part of why the Rams did, but the Rams aren't anywhere close anymore. You know what I mean?
No. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying their turnaround is going to be a little bit quicker than what the Cowboys do because of the way that those were structured.
They're an adequate younger team right now.
Exactly.
Just with an old quarterback. So they're a quarterback away from being a fully young team with the rebuild essentially done. And I'll give them that credit. And honestly, the Bucks did it very well too. After Brady, like that was a very quick turnaround overall. And a lot of those guys
is that a possible landing spot for Shador?
What, the Bucks?
No, the Rams.
Oh man, I hope so.
I don't see it because that offense is not easy, man. That's a tough offense to learn from anyone who's who's played in St. Louis. Good gracious, in LA. And I don't know because I don't know that he's that type because again he's been playing out this spread offense. I don't want to say simple offense because I don't think it's that, but it's also not a complex offense to run both in Jackson State and Colorado.
I mean, you think McVay wants that guy?
No, I'm just saying, is it possible landing spot?
Well, would he be open to him?
Well, I mean, it could be if McVay decides he wants to retire for real, because then who knows what the coach is going to be coming in.
Well, I think that's part of the reason why Dallas. We're talking about the Dallas thing like that because ultimately Dallas is the one that's going to be. They are the ones that they either blow it up early so that they can start getting assets because that's what you would need. You'd want to start pushing the pieces out. However, how does your fan base start to take on the tank?
Yeah,
they won't love it.
That's a good point. That's
a
good point.
I mean, at one point or another, you're gonna have to just bite that bullet. Like, come on, like if the fan base ain't going through a rebuild in how many years?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You take that. You chew that piece of gum till it's absolutely dead. Yeah. And then you got to just spit it out and throw it away. You know what I mean? It's like there's no. At that point, nobody comes back. Just about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the Cowboy fan base will be there because look, there was a time before Jimmy Johnson got there that we were like 1-15, couldn't do nothing. I mean, there was that time period, and the Cowboys fan base didn't go away. I mean, there were bad times in Dallas before Jimmy got there, and I think they'll be okay.
The problem is if they're just trying to appease fans by going and getting somebody, it's not like grabbing a new piece of gum. It's going to be grabbing a piece of Fruit Stripes gum, which is going to be good for about 30 seconds, and you're still going to have to blow the thing up.
Fruit Stripes gum catching strays. That's.
I mean, they went out of business anyway. So
juicy fruit. You got to put that one stick in there. It had a flavor for a half a second, and you had to stick another piece of juicy fruit.
Pretty much.
And then pretty
Big Red.
Big wad of juicy
Big
fruit.
Red.
You don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. All of a sudden, you're just Ace Ventura with the giant
Okay.
Oh man.
And on that note, we are a little bit past the halfway point, but this show brought to you in part by True Fusion Gym. They have 3 locations here in Western Washington, one in Bellevue, Ballard, their new one in University Village. And of course, if you use the QR code on the screen, you get a free 5-day pass at any of the locations for Pilates boot camp, hot yoga. And so try out the new location. Find your edge at True Fusion Gym. All right. Had to sneak that in there.
Understood. So listen, I'm gonna deviate from football.
Yep.
I know that rules the world here, but so last night, the Pirates Skens was pitching and had completed 7 no-hit innings. Was on pitch number 99. He had 99 pitches. He had thrown 99 pitches, and this is against the Milwaukee Brewers. So it's not like wasn't like it's this isn't the Athletics that he was.
Yeah.
This isn't the Marlins. This was the Brewers that he was throwing a no-hit game, and they pulled him.
I'd be mad as a pitcher.
Yeah. I'd be mad as a pitcher, but at the same time, I think it's good on their part because at the same time, you don't want to push him so hard that you run risk of injury or things like that could really derail him. I think it's good management.
Do you not remember Nolan Ryan exists? Like that.
Look, I get it, but we ain't in them days no more.
I would understand that, except for the fact that those pitches that he was throwing, out of those 99 pitches, none of them were stress pitches because he was pitching a no-hitter.
Exactly.
So you're not having the stress of that. So you got to let him go. I mean, all right. So if he gets to 120 pitches in the 8th inning, if he throws 21 pitches in that 8th inning, then I'd start to consider like, okay, I can't do this and hope that you're going to be okay.
Or
you know
if
what I mean?
A hit, then you're like, okay, hey.
The moment you give up a hit, it's done.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But ultimately, I felt like that they wronged him, and I know that he just got announced as the National League starter for the All-Star game.
And when is the All-Star game?
Tuesday.
So
I
get all that.
It would be his actual natural start time next Tuesday. Would be his natural start. So I understand that, but he's only going to pitch an inning and a half, 2 innings.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's only going to be 2 innings, so who cares?
So, but that being said, why pull him? Why pull him? He's having such a fantastic season, and that he pitched that no-hitter. It would have been they could have announced it last night right after he pitched the no-hitter. You just pitched a no-hitter, and now you're going to be the starter for the NL in the All-Star game.
Exactly.
Like that would have been perfect. Now, they did win the game, and of course, the new pitcher who started the 8th inning gave up a hit in the very first at bat. So there went the combined no hitter that got thrown right out. I mean, but ultimately, I.
But do you really want to be? What if you get past to a certain pitch count? And then, God for those freak injuries that always seem to happen. And then you're the skipper of that team, and then you look like the biggest dumbass because you just went out there and ruined your
listen.
You
don't look like the dumbass because he's pitching a no-hitter.
Exactly.
He's pitching a no-hitter. You have to stand behind your guy. He's gone over 100 pitches, and he has been pitching absolutely ridiculously lights out. All season long.
You can have those injuries on your 3rd pitch of the night. So I mean, it's
I
not like
that. No, I understand that, but it's not about if he could. It's about risk management. You still got to really do a little risk management,
right?
In there,
so the coach ended up saying after the game, because they asked him about why he took him out, and he said basically that he was tired. It really didn't have to do anything with pitch count. It's about trusting your eyes and trusting him. I can see it was wearing down. He was tired, so that's why he's just, I guess, a visual feel for the guy saying, "Hey, I took him out just to save him."
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, these guys, they're with him all off season. They're with him all season. If they say he looks like he's wearing down a little bit, and Let me just save him, and you still
You
get
know
the
what?
win.
You know
That's
what?
probably a victory.
See, and as he said that, as he's saying that, you know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Rob Thompson, and I'm hearing him. I'm hearing those words that you just said.
Mhm.
Him talking about Wheeler in the 6th inning of Game 6 of the World Series against Houston. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that, oh, he looks a little tired. He needed to pitch to the next batter because we bring in Alvarado, and Alvarado gives up a home run that's still flying.
I do remember that. I remember that one.
I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day,
You know,
if you
and
win, it's
trust
a
me,
great
I was
decision.
there. They said it was 450 foot. They lied. They lied. That thing was like 550 foot.
That was just the height. They were not the distance. It was just leaving orbit.
It was that went over all the stands, that went into the area, the vestibule. Like
Right.
that was so far gone. So far gone. But Wheeler would not have given that up. Or if he did give that up, at least then we could say, all right, we left him in there too long, but you gotta trust your ace. You gotta trust your ace.
But I understand your situation more than I do the skiing situation, because you are in the playoffs. So I get the playoffs. Like that's the pinnacle. But when you're the Pittsburgh Pirates and you're damn near in last place,
what else do you got to go for? What are you saving him for? That's what I'm talking about. Like you could have a guy who's about to pitch a no-hitter for your team before the All-Star break. You may wind up actually propelling yourselves to actually play better. They were close to first place at the beginning of the season. The Pirates last year actually had a pretty good season after the All-Star break. They play against the Phillies, who they actually, for some reason or another, seem to beat us all the time. So you have this, your pitcher who just got done pitching a no-hitter is going to start the All-Star game, and after that we are like feeling good about ourselves. Listen, we got this amazing pitcher. We've got a really good closer who I keep saying that I want the Phillies to take, trade for, and like maybe we could get something going here.
But going back to what Travis said, if he wasn't tired like that, then that means his mechanics are going to start suffering. If that mechanic suffers, then you could potentially.
Well, he struck out the last batter. If
he gives up a hit, then you pull him anyway. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're a bad team, so you might as well get like the one shiny spot and be like, hey, you know what? We were bad this year, but we still had a no-hitter. Like, I mean, you got to. Sometimes you need those small victories.
I don't know if I agree. That just sounds like the momentum argument all over. Like, and I don't believe in momentum in sports. I just believe, hey man, you win if you won. You win because you win, or you win. There's technical reasons that you won or lost or whatever it may be. But the whole vibes argument or the whole momentum argument, it never really sits right with me because I'm just not one of those guys who believes in it. But and in this case, like the Philly sports guy, you were saying like you might build up some momentum or you build up some.
You build up a good feeling in the locker room.
Yeah, but they won the game.
They did
with
win the
that
game.
decision. They won the game, so the materially nothing changed overall.
Well,
other than I wanted him to finish it.
Yeah, it does change though.
Because you have no. You change because it's not like it's real common to get a no hitter as a pitcher, right? Like those don't happen all the time.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to make contact. It's part of the game. So if you have the opportunity to get a no hitter, I mean, that's why Nolan Ryan having as many as he has is crazy, right? And he played forever.
And Nolan Ryan was a specimen too. That guy was a physical specimen. Like his body was just in great shape. I mean, not to say that Paul Skeens isn't, but we don't. He's still at the beginning of his career. You look back on. There's a lot of arguments you can make for it. I get where Philly's coming from. Oh, I get where you're coming from too. I do.
No, I just think it's one of those where if you have a guy, that would be like pulling somebody that was going to have a perfect game. Like, I mean, you just don't do it. You let them have those special moments because you only get so many of those. Like sometimes, like Travis, as a player, you stepped out on the field and you just had a day where there was nothing you could do wrong. right? Like there's those games just for
well, maybe not you, Travis, but other guys have had going around on the field.
Don't start that.
Every athlete has had one of those days where you just stepped out there, didn't matter what you do, it was coming up roses.
Yeah.
You're telling me you would have been fine if they sat you down in the third quarter because you were fine, you were balling out, but you know what? You had a snap count. And we're gonna sit you down on the pine.
Let me keep it a buck. Let me keep it 100. I would not be fine. No, I'd be pissed. But I don't gotta be fine because that's not my job. That ain't my role. Sometimes the adults gotta save me from myself. And that's their job, is to make sure that they are the adults in the room to save me from myself and keeping me fresh for the whole season. That's literally why they're here. So I'm not gonna be fine about it. You're right. But at
you're
the
a
end of the
two-win
day,
team. You being ready for the next game doesn't even matter.
I mean, this is the Trevor Lawrence argument.
For real. And let's also be for real. He threw 99 pitches in the game, but he also threw an extra, for those 7 innings, he threw an extra 30 pitches warm up. He pitched probably 60 or 70 warm up pitches before the game. I mean, so there's 99 pitches, and he struck out his last batter. Like, so he wasn't throwing, like I said, he wasn't throwing stress pitches.
Yeah, it'd be like you getting an interception, and then they're like, we've seen enough.
Well, in my head, this is the Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence argument. Like when this is a sorry team who was just historically just looking just dreadful, just bad, and your quarterback is out there. And I know you say this is not stress pitches, but he's out there just getting beat up. He's getting a little tired. His mechanics are falling on him a little bit, whatever it may be. And you're like, nah, man, I gotta take this dude out before he f's himself up, before he hurts himself, or he actually does something that will take him 6 months, a year, whatever it is, to return from. And that's what, if the coach is like, hey man, he was tired. And to Jay's point earlier, sometimes when you're tired, your mechanics start, giving out a little bit. Like you may be still doing well right now.
You start cheating your mechanics. You start cheating your mechanics. I understand that.
And then you don't want him to get to that point if you have a chance to save him from himself. That's what I meant when I say, hey, sometimes the adults got to be the adults. I get it.
And Bo, I think the right analogy would have been, that's like if Roger Staubach, when he threw the Hail Mary pass, which by the way, that's how it became the Hail Mary, to Drew Pearson, and then you take Staubach out, that would be a better comparison.
Okay.
Well, I was just using his particular.
I know, Bo. I just wanted to correct you so that way next time you knew the better comparison would be, compare apples.
I feel like I can't take advice from you, Jay.
That being said, I feel like that they did a disservice to themselves and to Major League Baseball, actually. Like, it's like to themselves, to him specific, and to Major League Baseball by not allowing him to go after it. Like I said, had he thrown 20 pitches in that 8th inning, or that he was going deep in counts and stuff like that, give him the opportunity. Like, just give him hey, if he gets up to that first guy and that's like an 8-pitch at bat, you know what I mean? Because guys fouling some off and stuff like that, then okay, I get it. He is a little tired, whatever. But you didn't even give him the chance.
You wanted to see the on-field evidence of him being tired versus a coach's name. Eyes told me.
I'm watching MLB, the MLB station, and they're talking about he's got a no-hitter through 5 innings. And I got my buddy turns to me and goes, why are you announcing it through 5? And I'm like, they're announcing it because it's Skins, because he's been a great pitcher. And then, all right, he went through 6. Oh, he went through 7. And then they stopped talking about it. And I'm like,
so let's play devil's advocate for a minute. You already said, what if he got the no-hitter? Okay, I get that. But what if he gives up the hit? His mechanics weren't good. He jacks up his arm, whatever. He has to pull from a game for an injury situation. Then what do we say? Hold on. Then what do we say on this show?
Anytime.
Oh, well, he should have been pulled. Look, he's
out. No. Because you don't. So you could say that as a Monday morning, but you're not saying that. You're not saying, oh, we need to pull him now because he looks a little beat up. He's got a no-hitter going, but you know what? No-hitters are a dime a dozen. Who needs that no-hitter?
Exactly.
And that's what I'm getting at. There's never going to be somebody that says, oh, we needed to pull him because he looked tired. And he was because he's going for a no-hitter, because that is like one of those things in baseball that is like looked on as godlike. It's like a god. It's like a godlike situation. So that when you achieve that, it's immortal. You're immortal for that franchise.
Yep.
Because you did it, and they took that away from him. That's what I'm saying. You know. The next topic, the Dodgers, supposedly the second best team in Major League Baseball, got swept out of Philadelphia. We Shohei'd them the door.
And of course, the Mariners put up 11 on the Angels. So the bats show up against one of the worst teams in the league.
Hey, relax, bro. Relax. It was the Angels, bro. Don't act like he went out there and put 11 up on, like, I don't know, the Phillies or something, or the Dodgers or something.
That's exactly against the Angels. You got to play. You got to beat up on the bad teams.
Like, well, that's true. You do, because the bad teams get you through it. Hey, real quick, I know we're almost out here, but $76 billion media rights for the NBA. What do you think that's going to be long-term wise for, let's say, us fans trying to view it, and then they're going to start putting this to where you got to buy this app or this app or this app if you want to be able to watch NBA games?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting how the NFL's Sunday ticket thing plays out.
Yeah.
Because I think that will affect other leagues and how it is they approach this thing. So to answer your question, we don't know yet.
Everybody's watching it. There's no way that these other people want to have any sort of small liability associated with anything close to what they have going on. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because part of the article I read, they were talking about that this could affect the way we view NBA games going forward, meaning like other entities are going to start broadcasting it. So I hope that doesn't happen, man, because, you know, I don't have half those apps. I got maybe like one or two. Come on.
I mean, you hope it doesn't happen. I'm thinking that because of it, more leagues, more teams like the NFL and the additional other leagues might end up actually offering what ESPN originally wanted to offer, what these team by team packages.
Exactly.
Like that may be good for the fans. We may not like the process to get us there, but once we get there, I think we all might like it.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think you're right. Yeah, I really do. Yeah,
just do a whole city package. You can buy the city package. I get all Philadelphia sports in one package.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That might be dope. Yeah, interesting.
I mean, that would be the way that I would want to do it. The problem is that how do they cut up that piece of the pie?
Yeah,
because they all have their individual rights. So
teams get good, teams get bad, and all of a sudden they want more to the pie. That'd be super messy.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, the Phillies right now is the toughest ticket in sports to get right now. So,
well, I mean, there are certain, like, take the Yankees for example. They have their own network that they put their games on. I mean, isn't it kind of, sort of, somewhat going that direction a little bit?
That was done by Steinbrenner to try to copy what Turner was doing with TBS.
Right.
So. That's all that came out. That he was tired of hearing about Atlanta being America's team, because they were just shown all the time. That's what it was. They were shown on TV all the time because he had the cable network, and that was like, well, we're going to do Yes TV. The Yankees entertainment, station. You know what I mean? I guess that's what it was called. And ultimately, it gave them the ability to show all the old games and, hey, let's do this. So it actually helped broadcasting for ESPN with the ESPN Classic channel.
Yep. And that brings us to the end of the show.
Where we spoke sports all day long.
The entire time. It is amazing. Those of you watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps all of our channels out. If you are watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you next week.
Take care, guys.